Hello, welcome to Tarot and Attachment. For those of you who've been following along, you know that I do a weekly consultation with the cards to see what themes might be emerging and how we might make the most of gaining insight into archetypal energies that are moving us through the week. So I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to go silent. I'm going to concentrate while I shuffle. And I will be with you momentarily. I'm just going to say a prayer over these cards. Hmm. Hmm. So it's kind of an interesting message, and it's sort of asking us to get clear about where we're putting our energy and why, what it is we wish to accomplish in order to overcome blockages and to be effective at moving things forward or getting things done. And so, the Seven of Pentacles, I'm sorry, the Eight of Pentacles is really about putting forth energy and effort in order to bring something into being. In order to make something grow, you have to tend to your garden. You have to put energy and effort in. And the promise of the Eight of Pentacles is that when we exert effort and allocate time to some project or some intentional goal, the promise is that we will see results, specifically over time. And pentacles can really just represent the tangible ways that we meet our needs, the physical manifestation of that energy. So people often associate it with money and career and finance, but really you can think of it as the physical result of effort. Similarly, you go to a job and you put in work and you get paid a salary, which then translates to you paying for the essential needs of life, like food and shelter. If you're an artist, the thoughts that you have that get filtered or directed into a process of creation, and then the elements that you use to create, whether it's to paint a painting or formulate a song, that end result is what pentacles represent. So they're earthbound, they're earthy. There's a physicality to them. There's something tangible that results from the effort that we put in. This is the promise of the Eight of Pentacles. So one thing I sort of like to point out in regards to building something of import is that it stands to reason that you want to be clear about what you wish to create. If the energy you put in is going to produce a tangible result, then you want to make sure that that effort is being directed into some project that is important to you, which requires a kind of emotional honesty, an ability to look within ourselves and assess what it is that is meaningful to us, what our values are, what it is that we most desire to create. We can have it if we want it, so long as we're willing to put energy and effort into it. And so the underlying question is, what do you want? What do you wish to create? And it behooves us this week to get clear about what that might be. So the Seven of Cups is what I call emotional vagary. It's a kind of murky or cloudy experience when you are analyzing what it is that you wish to have or to create. It feels foggy and confusing. It's this inability to see clearly what it is that you desire. And what I've come to understand about the Seven of Cups is that this card shows up in readings most often when we are afraid that we're not going to get what we want or we're going to lose what we have. In some ways, you can think of the energy of the Seven of Cups as being a self-protective measure. It feels safer to distance myself from what I want, to be confused about the nature of it, rather than to say, I know what I want, I'm willing to go after it, but I'm afraid that it's not going to happen. I'm afraid that it will be denied. And the threat of disappointment, of being able to achieve the goal or have the desired outcome, the threat of it not happening is so emotionally distressing that it's just easier to be uncertain. I don't know what I want. And so the Seven of Cups wants us to know that the universe cannot conspire to bring you your heart's desire until you are willing to claim it. So it behooves all of us to state our intentions clearly, if not to the world at large, then at least to ourselves. I want to be in a reciprocal partnership. I want to pursue a profession that is meaningful to me. I want to build a house. I want to travel the world. It doesn't matter what it is, so long as you are being honest and authentic with yourself. This is what my heart desires. and I'm willing to put energy and effort towards it, this is the way that we overcome these sort of blocks. You can also think of this sort of as a process, right? Swords relate to the mind, thoughts, ideas, communication. The Five of Swords is no ground gained or lost. It's a stalemate. And I sometimes associate the Five of Swords with writer's block. Not being able to see clearly, not being able to have a clear plan on how one is going to move forward, being stymied in some narrative that keeps you stuck in a well-worn neurological groove. So, like I was saying about a process, in order to create something new, you first have to have an idea of it, a plan for its creation. If you're going to build a house, you first have to draw up some plans. You have to have a vision for what the house might look like. And then you have to want to do something about it. There has to be some emotional motivation for you to take some action, a desire that moves the plan, which is existing on a mental level, into a physical reality. And then you have to put energy and effort towards it. You have to commit yourself to a process of investigating or engaging or putting something into practice. Wand energy is passion, creativity, life force energy. It is the inspiration or the motivation that we funnel into taking discrete action. And the Two of Wands is about the very beginning stages of a process. This guy is Magellan. He is traversing new territory. He's an explorer. He's on the brink of exploring a new possibility. And the most important thing to remember when you're standing at the edge of a new experience is that it is essential that you make a start, that you take steps and to trust that the path will unfold before you. That you can't ever get to where you want to be until you're willing to move in that direction. So oftentimes what happens is we have an idea and we see it in its totality, that what sort of like what we imagine the finished result or the finished product might be like. And sometimes its enormity is so overwhelming that we are immobilized to take any action at all. It's like, I need certainty before I make a start that this vision that I have will absolutely come into being, and I have to know every step of the way before I go towards it. And in fact, what the Two of Wands is saying is that's not really how things work. You have a vision and you hold it in your head, and it's sort of but you have to hold it loosely. It is sort of the guiding principle, but it is in the doing where you start to fine-tune your vision and you start to practically assess what will work and what won't. And in the doing, you will make adjustments. You know, you're still moving in the direction of your desire, but as you're putting it together, practically, you notice what works and what doesn't. And so there's it's a process of unfoldment. And ultimately, what the Two of Wands is saying is that we have to be willing to make a start. But again, the promise is with the Eight of Pentacles that the effort and energy that we put into something is going to produce tangible results. So it is worth our while to formulate a plan, admit that it is something that we deeply desire, if indeed it truly is, to make a start in moving in that direction or setting something in motion, and then continue to put energy and effort into it. With this commitment over time, you're going to start to see results. And ultimately, that is how one becomes a master. You know, the emperor, the archetypal energy of the emperor, is one of mastery and maturity, of being in a position of authority or leadership. And you know, the most sort of like beneficial expression of this archetype, the benevolent leader, the one who has wisdom and experience and has acquired this title over time. They've earned this title of emperor through wise action. And this idea of sovereignty, that to look, you know, ultimately, there are so many things in life that we have no control over, that we are, that the world is changeable. And yet we have some control over the way that we show up to the world. So, you know, again, just this analogy of creation, this analogy of, you know, thinking of our lives as our own work of art, knowing what it is that we wish to create, and then practicing, putting into practice the things that we wish to manifest. And by doing that, we are in a position to a position of sovereignty. As much as possible, we are able to produce lives of meaning that are governed by our own actions. And I think that's really the way that I'm choosing to interpret the emperor in this case. And so, you know, not for nothing, we are sort of coming up on the end of the year. We have a couple of holidays in front of us, but it is a good time, this time of winter, this time of short days and long nights, to vision what it is that we might want to create and where we'd like to put our energies, and to begin to plant the seeds that will germinate over the coming year. And be intentional about what it is that we wish to create in order to become the master of our own domain. So I hope that was helpful, something to meditate on in your holiday weekend. And I am grateful for all of you and your support of my work. I wish you many blessings. Take care.